everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of the Illuminary Library. I am your host, Alicia, joined by my co-host, as usual, Ben.
Which one?
I should have seen that coming. I was talking about you, to be fair.
Hi, everyone.
Down below is, we like to fondly call the other Ben, but you might recognize him if you watch our Thursday Lorcana streams on Twitch, because that is the other Ben that I play with. So, two Bens and
Hi,
one
everyone.
Alicia. That's the makeup of the team.
Hey.
How are you guys doing today?
It's good. It's good. Just took a nap, ready and raring to go with some new stuff.
Yeah, there's lots of stuff to talk about. Other Ben, because that's what we're gonna call you now. I mean, or Benjamin, but
Yeah, no, it's been lovely over here. Right before this, though, the dogs decided to go get muddy outside, so I was bathing dogs before this.
oh, sounds so great.
The Illuminary Library,
right.
more fun than bathing a dog.
Oh, yeah.
Lorcana, naps, and dogs. That's what we got. All right, so talking about Lorcana, we're gonna get into a lot of the set 3 stuff that's coming out. We're gonna talk to normal Ben 1. I don't know.
I like that. Thing 1 and
about-
thing 2 here.
Thing 1 and thing 2. Yes. Oh, we should get you guys shirts. You did some judging stuff that we have to talk about because it's a really big deal. But let's just start with a general overall. Set 3 is about to come into rotation. How is everyone feeling about the game as it is right now? Because I know other Ben and I play weekly. Ben, I know you play a lot too. Where are you? Are you tired of the set? Are you ready for new stuff? Are you still tweaking and playing around with new decks?
I'm actually kind of surprised. I feel like the game's in a relatively healthy spot. I feel like earlier on this show, I was here complaining about how oppressive Ruby Amethyst was. It was the end all be all. It feels like people are starting to kind of work around it now without even any new cards really coming out. It feels like it's okay. Yeah, you're still a problem, but you're not the problem. I think Amethyst is still obscenely strong. That bounce package is very good, and I'm very curious how long Merlin Mim bounce is going to stick around. But it still is kind of an open room. Steel Song is playable. There's so many different variants on Amethyst that's playable. I feel like it's just sad to see Sapphire Blue a little underrepresented. At least in my opinion.
Speaking of Sapphire Blue players, because that's your main thing.
That is my bread and butter. It's what I want to play week to week. I play Sapphire Steel fairly constantly, and I play.
Nice.
I mean, it's the variation that a lot of people are playing overall, but then maybe 7-8 card differences that some people are just wait, what are you doing there? And surprisingly, Pooh Bear, Pooh Bear having to think for that extra just in case you don't get Fishbone Quill. That's one of the things that people are just why are you running that? But it's great. So I'm with you. It's been a really,
and it's inkable.
Yeah.
It's been really, really healthy recently. I think even at the locals this past weekend that I went to on Saturday, I ran into decks that I haven't been playing much against, and I lost some games that day, and it was a fun time learning to play against new things.
Nice.
His Saturday games, he was telling me about this, was wild. He played 3 discard decks. Bing, boom, boom, in a row.
Decks.
Oh, yikes.
Yeah.
This is what, green steel discard?
Yeah, and the standard, at least as far as tournaments go, the standard Bucky Discard, but it's something that wasn't in our local scene until, I guess, this past week. Just nobody was playing it.
Yeah, it feels like a fringe deck, but it also sometimes just comes together and just tears you apart.
Yeah.
It's
I only
from
went
what I've seen
1-2
very
that
good
day.
against those Ruby Amethyst decks that I was talking about earlier, because okay, cool, you want to sit here and not deal with anything until turn 7? Neat, how about you don't have a hand by then?
Yeah, it's and like for decks like that do kind of, need the longevity, you're kind of messed up at that point. I'm gonna be really sad when Mufasa goes away because that's like my favorite deck to play right now. And I don't know if it will be viable in set three. I don't think it will
People are
be.
trying to make it work. If you look on trending
There's
decks on Dreamborn, there is a Mufasa deck up there.
there's so
Nice.
many, like, here's my thing, and the reason why I don't think it'll work is because like with Mufasa you have to run so many characters, and now with locations coming into play, where do those fit in the deck? Or if they are in your deck, then like how do you get rid of them? Then you need an action, then that's another character you're not playing. Like there's an endless cycle of problems. But I love him so much, and I'm gonna be really sad when I see him go. Yeah, but I think the game is healthy. I wonder if 3 months, because that's kind of what they're striving for set rotation. I wonder if that's too short. Should it be 4 months? Should it be 6 months? Ben, what is it in Magic?
Uh, in Magic, for standard, I believe it is a new set comes out every 3 months.
Oh, okay, so the same.
For Magic as a whole, new stuff has been coming out ballpark once a month on average, if not a little quicker. And people have been not a fan of this fact.
That's a lot of money.
There's so much coming out. There's so much money you got to spend if you want to keep up with it. The one thing I will say is that they are trying to make things that appeal to different player bases. So it's not like you need to buy everything. Granted, there are some people that it's going to appeal to them for everything, but it's like, okay, here's a commander product, here's a weird special fun draft set, here's an actual like a standard product for people who do the standard style building or pioneer modern, etc. All the other stuff that takes that. So
Sure.
it's when I started playing Magic, it was just one set every 3 months, and that was it.
Okay.
And we liked it, but like, and it was great. Like it felt like everything was staying fresh at a good rate. You would have a set come out, you would enjoy it for a while, you'd figure it out, and then a new set would come along and shake things up again. So I think it's a good thing for the game long term to be every 3 months, assuming that they put the effort into each set, and it certainly seems like so far they are.
Yeah, so they mentioned that set 1 through 3 were designed together. So I mean, obviously there's a lot of like cohesion there. So set 4 is when we'll kind of start getting into like the wild, wild west, I guess you want to call it. But I think they said they had like 10 years or something mapped out for this game. So like
Yep.
it sounds like they're not stopping and they've got plans. So,
Yeah. If I
guess we'll
remember
find out
right,
in
that 10 year
2034.
yeah. If I remember right, that 10-year thing was just like big scale ideas, not
Yeah,
like we have
blue
every
sky,
card planned for the
essentially.
next 10 years. It's just
Yeah,
like, okay, when we
yeah.
get to year 7, we'll be doing this part of the story arc, kind of a thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I think it was like rough dates of like this would be like when we're developing, set 5, and then this would be publishing for set 5, and, developing for set 6 and so on. But at least, that just show forward thinking. I'm excited to see. I keep wanting to call Into the Inklands Chapter 3, and we were at a local last night, and a friend of ours had to like point out that like it's not actually Chapter 3, and there will probably be a Chapter 2 and a Chapter 3 like in the story of the
Ooh.
game. And I was like, I didn't
Yep.
even think about that because set 1 is Chapter 1, set 2 is Rise of the Floodborn, Chapter 3 is Into the Inklands. So we could feasibly see a Chapter 2, Chapter 3, so on and so forth, which I didn't really think about.
Yeah.
Has anybody asked in the Discord about that yet?
Not
'Cause
that
that-
I've seen.
yeah.
Like that seems like something that they might actually be able to answer for us at this point of like, yes, it's
Probably.
intentionally not called the second chapter, or it's, oh, no, we just didn't have a better name for the first set, so don't worry about it.
Right, yeah. Who knows? We need more lore is all I'm gonna say.
Yes.
I want more lore.
If they do go into a comic book story for background to lore and everything like that, that would make sense. Like the first set being Chapter 1, but that could be multiple
Right.
sets of the card game, but the first set of the comic books. That would
That's
make a lot of
true.
sense.
And there's been so much hinting about it being something other than a card game, some other form of media, whether it's, you know, a webcomic, a comic book. I know people have said a TV show. Personally, I don't think a TV show is going to happen.
No.
Yeah,
I'd love it if it did, but
yeah.
Can you imagine like maybe like a monthly episodic on Disney Plus? Like every month a new episode comes out?
That's the crazy thing, right? Like, if that was a route they were going to go, they very much have a streaming home for it, which is kind of the only push that I can see made for that. I still think it'll be a comic book. But yeah, who knows? I just think they need to do something aside from these little 5-second, you know, animated shorts that we're getting. Because you can only collect so much lore from that, and it doesn't quite make sense all the time. As beautiful as it's done.
I just want to make sure that we find that missing mermaid from Mermaid Cove.
This is your grand concern in life.
Yeah, I want to know where this mermaid's going, and clearly Tinkerbell helped Wendy fix up a ship to go get that mermaid. I want to find out what's happening.
The next time you ride the Peter Pan ride, are you going to look at that scene like completely differently now when it's like the mermaids?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
There is one that looks strangely like Ariel, which I always thought was super funny. Yeah. So we've got chapter 3. See? I'm already doing it.
There it is.
Into the Inklands is coming out, what is it? Pre-release is the 23rd, this Friday.
Yep.
And then, the worldwide release is after that. But we got some really fun news at the start of January. Competitive stuff, finally. No more just pure store tournaments or, you know, homemade 2Ks, 5Ks, whatever. We have some stuff that's actually going to be run by them. So this is from their release with IGN. And it just reads, the highly anticipated competitive circuit begins in May 2024 for North America and Europe. There will be regional level tournaments called Disney Lorcana Challenges, where the top 4 competitors earn invites to the North American or European championships, respectively. We will need to talk about where we think those will be located after I finish this. The North American and European championships will be held in quarter 4 of 2024. The top players from those championships will earn invites to the World Championship in 2025. Even though the Disney Lorcana World Championship is invite only, there will be a larger competition open to the other players at the event. So kind of a standard World Championship. That's not anything unheard of. Ravensburger has promised details on event dates, pricing, and more in March 2024. So right around the corner, hopefully, as we're recording this February 19th. In the meantime, there will be new competitive events for the local scene called Set Championships. And this is what I'm really excited to talk about. The first of these will be the Into the Inklands Championship, named after the upcoming set. These organized play events are hosted by local hobby stores and award a new Enchanted Stitch Rockstar promo card as the first place prize, along with the first and second place players receiving a playmat also featuring Stitch Rockstar. Details on how stores can host these events will be announced in late February 2024. So even though it is late 2024 as we're recording this, we do not know more about that yet. So hopefully within the next week or so, maybe with the release of Into the Inklands, we'll kind of find out more about that. So let's break this down, because there's a few different types of tournaments that they're kind of announcing. So the first, which I think will be the easiest for people to attend, are the Set Championships. And essentially it kind of sounds like that's just kind of like a regional thing. I don't know how your store would get to be chosen to do one of them, but I'm assuming they would only pick a certain amount out of a certain region, and then they get to hold this big tournament, and then you get to win really freaking cool prizes because those promos are beautiful. Like, I love Stitch Rockstar already, and those look even cooler than the regular card. So what do you guys think about this? Like it, hate it? Yes, no?
I love it. I'm so stoked for this, especially I think they did great with the playmat. I think they did great with the Enchanted promo Stitch. I love that it's another way to get an Enchanted. I think they announced numbers, and it was something like first place gets the playmat, and first and second gets the Enchanted promo.
No.
But
You have
I'm
that
so
backwards.
stoked for this. Okay.
Yeah. First place gets the promo card. First and second get the playmat. So you only have to be good enough to get second, in my opinion, because the playmat's just as good as the Enchanted. But there are some people out there who are Enchanted collectors and will fight me on that, and that's fine.
Yep. And I'm stoked for this just for the fact we have so many stores around us that it sounds like a lot of them are interested and they're just waiting for news, and they're rearing to host one of these.
Nice. You mentioned that there's Enchanted collectors out there. Just real quick, do we know if this is using the same like foiling and everything that the Enchanteds use, or is this going to be the D100 style? I ask because the D100 ones warp, and the Magic players call them Pringles. That they do not fit properly in sleeves, and it's kind of a problem. So I'm hoping this is playable and good.
They haven't, as far as I know, they haven't talked about that yet. Although I'm sure that that's something that, as stores announce this, that's probably something that you can ask. I would hope that it's done in the style of the regular Enchanteds. Personally, I love our D100 promos, but yeah, those aren't usable cards. We have them in like a display case, and you look at them and you say, those are pretty. That's cool that we got them. We don't touch them for use.
Yeah.
And I mean, to be fair, we don't use our regular Enchanteds either because they're too expensive and pretty. And I shuffle really hard, and I would be the person to break my Enchanted. So
ooh, yeah. No,
yeah, I do not have a light hand. For being a lady, there's no daintiness with it, and I always bring extra sleeves with me because I will split a sleeve just like that. Okay, so then
I'm real quick. I'm just real excited to see this structure set up because it feels very similar to like the regional championship structure that Magic has. Setting aside like the weird like tournament organizery issues that have existed with that, the structure for it is pretty good. Where it's you play at a local store, if you win that event, you get an invite to the regional championship, and there you go. That's the whole thing. Sure. It's very nice to see this like straightforward path to like a championship event. I've seen some way more convoluted paths exist in the past with like multiple ways to qualify, and sometimes you can't play in certain events if you've already qualified a different way, things like that. It's nice to just have it be like, okay, play in this event and go. That's it.
Yeah.
So are these...
Go ahead, Ben.
I thought that they said that these store tournaments where you can win the playmats and the Enchanted Stitch are not part of their actual tournament circuits.
That's correct. They aren't. So those are the set championships, which are a completely separate thing. The North America regional level... Sorry. The regional level tournaments, which are called the Disney Lorcana challenges, are what Ben is talking about, where they will feed into that world championship. Yeah.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
And like you said, that's a very, very direct path. You go and you participate in this Lorcana challenge, and then as long as you're top four, then you get to move forward to the championship. And then from there, you get to go to the World Championship. So there's like 3 different levels.
Yeah.
So where the regional level tournaments, I think we can assume will just be, within like the major parts of the country. You're going to have your Midwest, probably a Chicago, Kansas City. I'm kind of thinking about what Final Fantasy does, because they do something similar where they have like Crystal Cup tournaments. And I think it's in like 8 different places around the country, and every cup's a different color. But they do, regional stuff. And then from there, we'll have the North American or European Championship. Do we think that these are going to be at Disney for North America? Because I hope that they're at Disney. Although I could make a thing and say that it's at like Gen Con or PAX or something. Who knows?
I want it to be at Disney. I know that.
I want it to be at Disney too.
Like, it just makes
You're a
sense to me.
DVC, we're AP, so for us, it's like, this is perfect.
Yeah, I would love that, but I am not going to hold my breath as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the World Championship, which will be in 2025, again, something that I hope would be Disney affiliated. Personally, I think it'd be really cool to see an international resort kind of get to do it. I'm thinking Tokyo, but that's because I love Tokyo.
I don't think that's going to happen, unfortunately, just because the game isn't even printed in Japanese.
It's not. Oh, well, that's sad. They have all of the card games over there. Why wouldn't they have this?
Licensing issues, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, is that really it?
Like, Weiss Schwarz is a card game that I believe has a couple Disney sets out. I think it is genuinely just that they already have a card game that has the license licensed using Disney images on a card game in Japan. And so they kind of are struggling. Granted, this is me theorizing and supposing things. I don't know this. There's been no official statements. I don't claim to know these things, but that's my hunch.
We know France has it because it's sold at Disneyland Paris. I've seen people get cards from there, so I guess that's an option.
It's French, Italian, and German, I want to say.
German,
that
for sure.
sounds right. Yeah. We met a German guy, actually, who plays the game. And we got promos from him, and that was very cool.
Yeah, it's French, Italian, German, and English,
Okay, so that would make sense why it's just European and North American championships. And then obviously we know that it's in Canada too, but I would assume they would just come down to North America.
I mean, Canada is in North America.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking US, you know? I'm so bad at geography, you guys, but ask me where something is in Disney, and I will tell you, like that. We don't edit that out, we keep that.
With the structure they outlined, do we think that it does or does not rule out the idea of a youth championship with this? Do you think they'll have age brackets?
I guess you're thinking like Pokemon.
Yeah, I know Pokemon does. I'm not familiar enough with other card games to know how prevalent that is, but I know there's so many kids coming to our leagues that are just having a blast with this.
The only other card games that I've been involved in did not have a children's presence. What about Magic, Ben? Do they do children's?
They used to. They used to have an 18 and under league where the the grand prize for it was a scholarship.
That's genius.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's genius.
So that would be very cool to see. I would love it if Disney would do something like that, and they definitely seem like the kind of company that would be interested in that. Of like, we're not marketing to children, but we're marketing to children, but it's good for them. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And
they do so much with schools already with the college program, and they do a ton of stuff with Make-A-Wish that we've seen them put money into programs like that it wouldn't shock me.
Wouldn't it be sweet if they ran charity tournaments for Make-A-Wish? Like that, or Toys for Tots. Really cool. Like, that'd be fun.
That would be amazing.
Ooh, give kids the world. You guys should do that. Someone should send this to them. So that's all of our competition news. I think it's exciting. It's been great to go and play at locals and stuff. But you're not getting a ton out of that. There are like the 2Ks and stuff, or at least prizes and money is on the line. Yeah. But to have something tangible from the actual company is going to be really exciting to see. And I can't wait to see what those prices are going to be like. Because if Ravensburger and Disney are behind this, I can only imagine that there's going to be like some pretty cool prizes. So I'm excited.
I'm very interested in the prizes as well, specifically because Ravensburger has had opinions about events that have cash prizes. And while
so we need to get into that. I'm assuming you know this So let's talk about that. So I don't even know what tournament it was, even though I know it was a really popular one, but you were the head judge at a Lorcana tournament. Yeah. Our very own Ben was a head judge, and I love that for you. It's amazing. So where was it? What was it for? Why were they cranky about cash prizes? Because I know it was AK of some form, right?
Yes. So there were actually 3 different tournaments that I helped run. This was in Hartford, Connecticut. So it was an SCG con in Hartford, Connecticut. Star City Games convention kind of a deal. They're a big tournament organizer for Magic and Flesh and Blood, but they've also started doing Lorcana stuff too. And I was the Lorcana lead for the weekend. So that meant that I was the head judge of all 3 events, including on Saturday, it was a 5K. And with a 1K on Friday and Sunday. And
Look at you!
That was an absolute blast. I had so much fun.
He started his Lorcana journey as doing the Learn to Play at Gen Con. You were one of the people picked by Ravensburger to teach that. I got the awesome shirt from it. And now look at you, head judging. So what was it like? What process did you have to go through? How'd you get picked? Would you have to learn to do it? Because, I mean, that's a lot of rules and stuff that you need to be intimately familiar with.
A lot of rules that aren't in a central source right now.
Yeah, I was about to say, what rules? We don't have rules.
No
I mean, we have like rough rules, but the real problem right now is that there is no comprehensive rule book. Magic the Gathering has a CR that is, I think it's like 250-ish pages if you were to print it out on 8.5 by 11 at this point. It is very long and they call it comprehensive for a reason. And no one memorizes the entire thing. There are some people who have memorized the entire thing accidentally, but your goal is not to know every rule in front and back. It's like here's a reference manual. It's like it for your car. Like, you don't sit there and memorize every page of how to drive your car, but if you need to go look up, hey, how do I change this setting or fix this problem? It's all in there and you can go find it. It's that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But we don't have that yet for Lorcana. We have rulings that are given via Discord and Twitter.
I was going to say, through a very unofficial means of Discord and Twitter.
Yep.
Like,
I mean, it's the official Twitter account.
It doesn't, it's still not okay. You're asking the devs, and they're like, I guess so. Never really thought about that question. Like, that's not okay.
Yeah.
And we have a fan wiki that compiles links to all of these. And organizes them. Shout out to the Mushu Report wiki for this. I would not be able to function as a judge without them. It is incredibly helpful to have all of that in one central repository.
So how did you get to be the judge? Like, did they like DM you and they were like, yo bro, come judge for us? Or was this like an application process or...
So the Star City Games, like I said, they've been doing Magic tournaments for a long time, and I've run events for them and worked as a judge for them in the past. So I've been judging for them, 8-9 years, something like that. My first like large event was a Star City Games Open in Baltimore, and that was, I guess, 8 years ago at this point. So I've been working with them for a while. And they have, for every event, they have both leadership applications and floor judge applications that you just like fill out a Google form, answer a bunch of questions, and throw your name in the hat. And I had been applying for a while, and I even like spoke with like the staff at a previous event. I'm like, hey, I see you folks are including Lorcana stuff in your email lists. If you ever start running tournaments for this game, I'd love to be involved in it. And they said, sure, here's your shot at Hartford. So at this point, it's really about knowing the tournament organizer. There isn't any sort of a judge program that exists, no real certifications or anything like that. But you can still like get work as a judge, I guess is the way to put that. It's just kind of talking to people and being like, yeah, I know how to run events. I know the rules for the game. You can trust me. Here's some experience of me doing things for other games. Please hire me. Thank you.
Right.
And it clearly worked this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did. So why was Ravensburger cranky about money? Do they not like giving out money to people? Although it's not their money, I guess.
To be clear, this was not in direct relation with what I was doing in Hartford. But I have seen Ravensburger in that official Discord make a couple statements here and there to the tune of like, well, we don't officially sanction any events with cash prizes, so we can't really talk about that.
Okay, I'm familiar with the fact that they are a major sponsor and a major backer of the World Puzzle Championship, which is very much so cash prizes.
Well, maybe not Ravensburger as a whole, but Lorcana specifically.
Yeah.
But
I was gonna say,
puzzle people.
There are dozens of us. That's phenomenal.
Just dozens.
But at least as far as they're concerned with Lorcana right now, everything that is an official tournament is a local store event that has like minimal prizes, if anything. It's like here's a pack. Here's some this, that, or the other thing. Maybe some store credit, something small, but not anything on the order of magnitude of like thousands of cash prizes.
So back to the SGC Con or
SCG. Star City Games.
Yeah. Did you have fun? Was it a good experience? Would you do it again?
Oh, 100%. Like in a heartbeat, no doubt. The one thing that really stuck with me about this over like me working like with Magic events and stuff is that the player community for this game is so kind. Like
they are.
The amount of just people being nice to people, pointing things out, helping people out, like asking questions and not being the least bit upset. It's like, yeah, okay, I lose to that, but like, hey, that's really good. Like, you got it. There was no real like saltiness per se.
Oh, that's great.
It was just a very nice, wonderful time. And a lot of people were like, it was their first event ever too, where they've been coming, like they've had like a friend or a family member or something that's been involved in trading card games for a long time. They heard about Lorcana and decided that they would try doing it here, and then seeing this community being that positive and that open for new folks who may not know all the ins and outs of every single rule, it's so welcoming. And it's like, this is what I wanted to see from this game. Like, this is right. I've been saying since day one that like this is baby's first TCG, which you don't need to be a literal child for this, but it's your first experience with a trading card game, and it's a great one to start with because the rules are relatively straightforward 90% of the time, and the community is friendly and nice, and nowhere near as sharky and aggressive.
Yeah. My favorite thing was Ben to like it was like the weekend of the tournament, and Ben too, he like was on Instagram and he was like showing me like a post from the Forbidden Mountain, and he was like, "Wait, is that Ben?" And I like looked at it and I was like, "Yep, that's Ben." And then we were like, "Oh, he's judging." Yeah,
he sent me a DM while I was there. He's cool. Like, "By the way, this you?" And I'm like, "Oh, hey, it is."
So funny. Absolutely love it.
So with the tone of they were so nice and everything, I've seen on Discord a fair amount of people being once again, not to rag on it too much, but we don't have a comprehensive rules. People being like, "Where are you getting this ruling from? Did you run into any of that here? Or was it a big enough event that there was more so diehard people? And did anything happen around that?"
So with most of the like folks who were doing well in the tournament, like the higher tables later in the day, most folks there knew what everything was and kind of understood all of the rulings at this point, because thankfully there's only 408 cards in the game at this point. Which compared to Magic's tens of thousands, if not hundreds at this point, is a lot easier to kind of grapple with.
they were probably playing similar decks too, right?
That
I would
too.
imagine most of it was Ruby Amethyst. So
there was a decent amount of diversity. If I remember right, my top 8 for the 5K had like a green steel discard, a little bit of Ruby Amethyst, a little bit of Steel Song. I think there was a Steel Blue items deck in there. I'm not 100% on that. But I remember watching those matches and going, oh good, it's not the Ruby Amethyst heck I was expecting it to be.
Right. That's good.
So at those higher end tables, most folks already know what's going on because they've played the game a bunch, and that's like part of why they're doing so well is they have a bunch of experience. At the lower end tables, most everybody is like relatively new to the game and is willing to just accept, oh, okay, that makes sense. Like, I guess it works this way here. Sure. It's kind of that middle of the road where you're like, I think I know how everything works, but I might be missing something, that you start running into those, like, that I thought this worked this way and it doesn't. But it's kind of nice in a large tournament setting like that because the way that it's set up is that there is established from, like, round 1, I am the head judge of this event. If you get a ruling from anybody else on this event that you disagree with, you do have the right to an appeal, but that appeal is going to come to me, and my ruling's going to be final for today. Even if it was wrong, it would be how we're playing it today. And folks generally know and understand and respect that to some point. Now, folks will say, like, are you sure? Can you double check that? And, like, I will always, like, yes. I'm not going to sit here and be like, I know I'm right 100% of the time, and that is the law. No. But like everybody knows that if you push too hard, that like I have the ability to say, look, I'm very confident that this is correct. I need you to keep playing. And
you did a bunch of research previous to this too, asking as many questions as you could, I think, to figure out the interactions that we don't have a lot of clarity on. Which even helped out, I'm sure.
The biggest question
I saw you in the main Discord, just like coming up to it, you were just posting some random questions and be like, hey, I'm judging a big tournament this weekend. Can you guys answer this just so like I know what I should be following here?
And the big one that came up during the event that I wasn't like expecting or prepared for at all, really, it's not even like a interaction question. So one of the tournament rules for Lorcana is that you are not allowed to take written notes for anything other than lore totals. And one of my players asked me, hey, if I'm writing down my lore total, can I write down like how much it changed by, so I could just, if I was going from 2 to 4, I could write like a little +2. I'm like, yeah, okay, sure, that makes sense. And he's like, okay, cool. Can I write down why it changed?
Starts to push it.
And it gets really weird. Because it's not really clear, at least to me. The Discord had a very different opinion on this. They thought it was very clear the answer is no. But the way it's written in the rules is it's that you are allowed to not take written notes except to keep track of lore totals. And it's keeping ambiguous. Track of what caused it to change might be considered part of that. Especially when you start to consider the somewhat common scenario of somebody calls you over to a match because it's like, I think I have 7 lore, my opponent thinks I have 6. Help.
Here's my math of why I think this. Right. Like, if anything, it's just helping prove your case.
Exactly. Because if somebody has written down exactly what changed when and why, we can like start talking to the opponents like, do you remember these things happening? And we figure out, it's like, okay, did you write something down twice maybe? Maybe your opponent didn't catch something that did happen. Like, having those notes help solves that problem. So,
especially in a world of bouncing rabbits and spellbooks and stuff, or, decreasing someone's lore, it is easy to miss something, and people could, move their tracker by 1 by accident, Yep.
Yeah.
But the Discord disagreed with you.
The Discord did not like me saying yes to that. And that's part of being the head judge, is that I have the ability to say, yeah, I'm allowing this. But I don't want to go against the rules too hard. Really?
No, yeah.
Like, this is more of a, like, hey, I think this makes sense. I know why you're doing it and what you want to try and prevent. I know that you are also getting to take a little bit of notes about what your opponent's playing, but like that only really does so much. It's not like you're taking notes about everything in their hand. The best you're going to get is that you now have a written reminder that they might have a goat in their hand.
Right.
Like, okay. It doesn't seem to really violate the spirit of the rule either, which, as I understand it at least, is that this game is a bit of a memory game. Like, remembering things is a skill that we're testing. And so we don't want you writing down everything your opponent inked. We want you to have to try and remember what they did. Which is why agree or disagree with it, that's the choice they made. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and I mean, like you said, there's only so much you can even do, even with asking people, unless you have, Steve, one of the designers, come in and answer for you. We don't have a comprehensive rules document, so you gotta kind of make your calls. And I don't think that you did anything wrong personally.
And if I did, I acknowledge it. Like it's probably very minor in the grand scheme of things.
It's so minor.
The as I understand it, the official policy is no, you can't do what I let people do. So don't go out and be like, but this one judge at this one 5K got on this podcast and said that we should. No, I am not other judge. If you're at an event and you want to do that, ask your head judge before the event starts and get an answer from them.
Or
so it sounded like
they could make a judge program and have like qualifications.
Yes, please.
And then we would have like total complete clarity on this. Yes. That seems like the best idea to me. I don't know. What do I know?
So it sounds like it started quite a conversation online, at least. When you gave a ruling, did the players, when you gave that ruling, even blink an eye? Or were they just like, okay?
So I gave it with I don't know what the official-ish answer is on this, but here's my reasoning for why I'm doing this. And folks were a little surprised to hear that like I was on board with this, given how strict they thought everything was about no written notes. But everybody was like, I see why you're making that choice, and that makes sense. Sure. There was a lot of that over the course of the weekend where it's like, cool, we have run into something where the documents don't have a clear answer. So I'm going to have to make a judgment call because judge, that's what judge does. And here's my reasoning behind it. And generally folks hear that and they're very accepting of that. They might give you some like, hey, did you think about this, that, or the other thing, which please do. I don't mean to be dictating the word of God. This is a conversation. But
bow down to the word of Ben.
But people are very understanding that like, hey, we need a decision made in order for the game to progress. And if we sit here fighting over it all day, we're going to just be wasting time. And so let's not do that. Let's take the answer we've got as long as it makes sense and keep going forward.
I think that's the right way to handle it. And they will kick you out at a certain point, so the games need to be done in a timely fashion. Can't be there until 1 o'clock in the morning. Event organizers are going to be like, hey, leave. Yep. And then no one gets the 5K, and then everyone's really sad.
Right.
Oh, man.
All right. Let's talk about Into the Inklands. So the big thing with this set that's coming up is locations. So can someone who is not me tell me what a location is? What does it do? How does it work? And we have lots of examples to talk about and show because everything kind of does something a little bit different. Other Ben, if you wanna start, I know you're excited about these. So
yeah, I'm stoked for locations. Whether or not I think they're going to be good might be a different answer, but I'm stoked for it. So locations being an always exerted entity that's on the board that you can pay for your characters to get an extra effect. It's kind of, I guess the way I'm thinking about it is it's equipment in a video game that multiple characters could use at the same time. Is how I'm thinking. And of course, I guess if somebody else wants to talk about the other lore part of it, there's also that benefit, but it's an always exerted object out to give effects.
Go ahead and dissect like what we're looking at here. Because this doesn't look like a normal character, item, or action card in the game so far.
Yep. So instantly we'll notice that it's turned sideways, and it will always be sideways. In the Discord, they were talking about designer aspects, and they kind of noted that they made that decision to symbolize a bit more that it will always be exerted. It's always attackable, unless a location bodyguard or something might come up. But in the top right, I guess, of this, we still have the ink and whether or not it's inkable. Right below that, we have a 5 in a shield-looking thing. That's the health, the willpower of that location. Way off to the left there's the 1 in that hexagon-looking thing, which is the cost to move a character to that location. That character needs to already be played and on your side of the field. Bottom middle, there could be effects. In this case, there's flavor text for characters that are there. And then in the bottom right, we have some odd-looking lore pips, which in the ready, set, draw, so in the set portion of that, at the start of your turn, you gain that much lore. Is the general breakdown.
Without even having a character there, it's a passive lore, essentially.
Yeah. Or 2 in this case, yeah.
Nice.
Well, yeah. Obviously, yeah, in the case of Agrabah. And if they want that to go away, then they need to do 5 damage to it, which will make the card go away. What does moving a character to a location get you? Does anyone know, like, what benefit? I mean, obviously, moving it to Agrabah, like, there's no, like, effect.
Your character might have an effect of being at a location.
Sure, I guess that.
I think there's a Peter Pan. I forget what his effect is offhand, but a Peter Pan is a classic example. When he's at a location, he gets something.
I think it's when he moves.
Okay, that sounds right.
Yeah, it's like when he moves once per turn. You get a benefit. Yeah, there we go. I've got it. Once per turn, when this character moves to a location, gain lore equal to that location's lore pips.
So then he would gain 2.
Yeah, if you move him to Agrabah, gain 2 in response to him moving there.
And he could still quest that turn.
Yep, sure can.
Right.
Or be drawing still, I guess. You can still be drawing and move to a location.
Mm-hmm. Which is something that's been surprising and confusing a lot of people because they think, I can't use this until it's dry. But it's not like... The way that I've seen to think about this is not, you're not using the character. The location is almost kind of sort of grabbing the character and pulling them over. So it's the location that's doing the work.
That's fair. That's a good way to think about it. Just like I'll always think that like items are stickers. That like always, like ever since you said that, it sticks in my mind and it just makes sense. So every color, I think, got like 2 or 3 locations for Into the Inklands. If we want to go through those real quick, because all of them are out, so we'll know what's coming.
One thing that I just noticed that I want to point out about locations, I had never noticed this before, but the symbol on the left that shows the ink cost for moving the character here, that is... so there's the hexagon there, which is like what we show the ink costs in, but then the other part of that, it looks like a pinpoint from Google Maps.
Yeah. Oh my god, you're right.
So it's like the ink cost of coming. Like it's the ink
your quest in Skyrim.
Yeah, it's like that. It's the map pinpoint thing, and I'm like, oh, this makes sense now.
I never saw that. Oh my god, that's too funny. They probably were like, what does Google look like? I don't know. Use that. Like that was the art decision. Amazing.
All right, so let's just run through these alphabetically because I've got a fistful of locations to go through.
And for each ink, we got a common, uncommon, and rare. I think it is. Is that correct?
I'll believe that. That seems like a reasonable choice.
Which is neat.
I forget. Yeah, they are going to have weird, like, I didn't think about that. They're going to have the Enchanted be sideways. That's neat. Mm-hmm. All right, so Belle's house is a shockingly cheap location, just 1 cost, but two to move here, 6 willpower, and has here's the abilities you were talking about earlier. If you have a character here, you pay 1 less to play items. This
I instantly think of Tamatoa.
Yeah.
There you go.
Like I'm just imagining like, okay, cool. Play this on turn 1. On turn 2, play a character, get it moved here on turn 3, and then just throw all my popsicles out
for free.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. No one's gonna complain about a free popsicle.
Yeah. No lore on this location though.
True.
No.
Yeah, they don't have to always have lore. I didn't notice that till now. Good catch.
But it's a 6 defense, which means that it's gonna take like some actual manpower to get rid of this location, because that's a lot to chew through.
I measure this in Prince Eric's now, so this is just 2 Prince Eric's.
We've moved on from the flounder scale.
Yep.
Flounders.
The reason for that is I was playing an online client this week and playing against some locations on that, and that's what I was using Prince Eric for. It was just like, okay, Prince Eric, you're on location duty.
Nice.
Yeah.
He's a location man.
We need to get what's the name of the villain from Pocahontas? Yes.
Oh, yeah, Governor.
We need the Governor John Radcliffe character that like automatically defeats locations when he challenges them. Like the whole like conquering lands thing. Like
that would be wild.
That would be thematic.
Oh my god. Hire Ben, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen. The brain is at work.
Yes.
Oh. Love it. That was amazing.
Moving on.
Alright. Yeah. So this is Dilly Manor.
Yeah.
Can move here for 1, costs 1 inkable, defense 4, and just has 1 little lore pip. I will say I would live in that house. Like,
oh yeah.
It looks very Haunted Mansion-esque, yeah.
It is. I want Haunted Mansion cards. So bad.
Oh my gosh. You may play with 999 happy haunts in your deck.
That would be cool. That would be cool.
They need to hire you. Like this, like puppies, but better.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, it's so good. Oh. It's just Gus, Ezra, and Phineas. Those are the 3 different card types.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, there's a lot of these like basic like location that has no real effect but exists.
With Dilly Manor at least, it makes me think, okay, you can get that out early to gain that 1 lore, and then you play a bounce deck around Emerald, and just that will be your passive lore. You can focus more on bouncing.
Yeah,
that's my thought on that.
Focused game. I like that.
Okay.
This is a very good. Like your opponent needs to do something on turn 1 to answer this, or you're going to start running away with things a little bit.
Especially if you're playing some Flynn Riders, gaining 2 lore.
Yeah.
It's a lot that you have to start mitigating.
I feel like, though, that this is very close to, like, if you had instead of, like, this location, a 1-cost character that had 0 attack power, 4 defense, and quested for 1 with no other abilities, like, you'd be looking at essentially the same thing, because all you could really do with it is just turn it sideways to quest. Is that playable? Or are we banking on location synergy being good enough that it makes it better than a base character would?
Yeah, because you don't even have Bodyguard to then protect those.
Right.
This small thing in this case, because Bodyguard only protects characters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There are no Bodyguard locations yet in the game.
Yeah.
Let's look at another one. Let's see if it
see.
changes our mind. Yeah.
Another Emerald one.
Yeah.
So Fang River City is a 4-cost inkable location. It has 6 defense, and it costs 2 ink to move a character here. It quests for... I can't say that. It gains you 2 lore every turn.
Yeah.
But also has characters gain ward and evasive while here. So
I am so excited. Because I love evasive, and this kind of makes evasive deck, like, viable now? Like, imagine this with, like, Cusco and, like, a Mother Gothel and then a bunch of evasives. That's going to be tasty.
The other thing is that it's going to let you make anything you want be evasive for the sake of challenging as well. So that 10 cost 10/10 Goofy can now go and smack around your opponent's evasives.
No, could you imagine how silly that would be, but also incredible? The 10/10.
I do love that this is Fang. I mean, that's just thematic with the movie and everything as well, that they get ward and evasive for that.
Yeah.
They picked a really good location for this.
I'm so proud of you for knowing what Fang is.
I enjoyed that movie. I've seen it 3 times.
I really need to go see it at this point. Like, I passed on it and I've been regretting it.
Yeah.
We've got... Fair.
The 2-cost inkable costs 1 to move here, 6 defense, and just gives you a passive lore. So just like that other one whose name now escapes me. Same thing, though.
That was, what, DeVille's Manor?
Maybe? DeVille's Manor, that's what it was. Yeah.
DeVille's Manor was the same thing, but it was cost less and was 4 defense.
Which, honestly, it's good that this one costs what it does, because Amethyst is already too good. So maybe this will slow them down. Who knows? Or it'll make it go faster. I don't know. I hate Amethyst, so.
Let's see. The Jolly Roger also exists. Oh, this... Yeah, you can have more than one ability on a land, or on a location.
Yep. It's going to be really hard not calling them lands.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
1 cost uninkable, 5 defense, cost 2 to move here. Doesn't give you any lore every turn, but characters gain rush while here, and your pirate characters can move here for free.
And we're going to see some pirate synergies later.
Yeah.
So pirate decks are going to be a thing. Your pirates just got better.
Yep.
Lorcana Ryan has been talking about his pirate deck since Gen Con, and has always just kept saying, no, like, there's unreleased cards, we can't actually show it to you, but I have a sweet pirate deck. So hopefully now.
That's what Ryan Miller,
I was going to say now we'll see.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I remember hearing him when he was teaching like the Learn to Play folks. He mentioned some stuff about, oh, we've got some sweet decks that I can't talk about yet.
Yep.
Meanwhile, he's just like, pirates, when can they be real? Amazing. I love the art for this too, by the way.
Also,
it's
yes.
Great.
Is this one of the Enchanted ones?
Card.
I believe so.
Okay, cool.
All right, let's see another one.
Yeah.
Ooh. It's Cusco's Palace, home of the Emperor. This is 3 cost.
This is a spendy one.
Yeah, it is.
It is, but look how cute! Look, it's got his little house in the background, and it's the tree. It's like the monologue opening from the movie. I love it so much.
Does it have a pool?
Then, it costs 3 to move here, 7 defense, and then the ability City Walls. Whenever a character is challenged and banished while here, banish the challenging character. Fits right into Emerald. This is like their bread and butter. So to get more abilities like that is going to be really fun to play around with.
That's the same text as Cusco's No Touchy, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Whenever a character is challenged and banished, you may banish the challenging character. Yeah.
Yeah. So that is they knew what they were doing. Like Cusco's thing is just don't hurt me.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which I mean,
this is another one
he
of the
was
Enchanted
selfish.
as well.
Okay. He was a selfish character who didn't want to be messed with. So I guess it all kind of thematically goes together.
Oh, for
Although
sure.
he had redemption at the end of the movie. We don't talk about that. Nice, Cusco, I guess we're just going with, selfish Cusco.
When you're going with the storyboard version of characters, it's like from any point during the story.
Yeah.
So, like, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, you could have, like, Cusco Redeemed King or something like that. That would be an interesting card as well, but...
I want to see Floodborn Cusco, and he's Yzma.
Ooh.
That would be amazing.
Oh,
give a whole new
like
meaning to Cusco poison.
The poison from Cusco.
Or like he in like the little Yzma cat form. That would be so funny. Okay, what's next?
We have not another palace, but a place. I misread that at least 3 times. So Maui's Place of Exile, a hidden island, is a 2-cost inkable location, 5 defense, and it costs 1 to move a character here. It doesn't give you any passive lore, but characters gain resist 1 while here. This is the first thing that really stands out to me, at least, as like, okay, this is probably going to get played in some aggressive decks.
I do not want to go up against this if they have like a bodyguard or like a Cogsworth who's giving resist. Oh, it's going to be nasty. Or imagine like Cinderella here and now she's a +3 resist. Like, no, thank you. That's so much to chew through. I do agree with you, Ben. I think this is going to see play for sure.
I'm a big fan of Tiana Aggro, and this is definitely a card I would slot in to that. It's just, I mean, taking it out of account anything that new that pops up, like that would slot into a set 2 deck real fast for me.
Yeah.
Then we've also, I think this is our first mention of DuckTales on this this podcast.
Woohoo!
Yes.
McDuck Manor, 4-cost inkable, costs 1 to move here, has 9 health, and it has 2 lore. And I really love the little quote on this. It's only the coolest home in Lorcana, and that's from Webby Vanderquack. And I am a huge Webby fan, so shout out to Webby. Of course, McDuck Manor is gonna have 9 health because, I mean, only the best defenses for the richest duck in all of Lorcana, right? Like, that just tracks.
But one Goofy still takes it out.
One Goofy still takes it out.
The Goofy scale.
How many Goofies? Yeah, forget your, your Prince Eric scale. We're on a Goofy scale now. Yeah.
Well, no, it can be like cups to quartz and everything like that. So 3 Prince Erics and 1 Goofy, and yeah.
That's the Lorcana measuring table.
Yep.
And Flounder is like the table or like the tablespoon. Yeah. Like Flounder.
Yeah. We're making it the American imperial system.
There we go.
So like not everything will fit into each other perfectly.
No, yes. Because we can't do math, which is fine. I didn't even know where North America and Canada blurred the lines, so I mean I am a child of the Florida public school system. Thanks, Florida.
But this kind of like brings up that question again for me, just of collocations in general. Would you play a 4-cost inkable 09 character that quests for 2?
In Sapphire, I have as a primarily Sapphire player, I have too many options when I have 4 ink. And normally I get 4 ink at the end of my turn, so I have 5 ink at the start of my next turn by inking that turn. Right. It's like, okay, you're using 3 for a fishbone quill to then add an ink there. You're skipping the turn. You're starting with 4.
Yeah.
So you have what options for 4? It's Hiram, obviously wildly used. Right? He's 4?
No, he is 4, but I'm saying that we skip the 4 ink turn because on turn 3 we play fishbone quill. Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying as far as like 4 ink characters go, for the sake of Ben's question, we've got Hiram, we've got Belle, both of which are like integral characters. You've got Nick Wilde to cycle your popsicles. Those seem more important than a 4-cost location, in my opinion.
And even Nick Wilde, we don't really use much anymore.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's not like that deck is really hurting for lore, so you don't need the passive lore, probably. Yeah. Especially if you have Belle and she's online and you're questing for 5 a turn, or Tamatoa. It's kind of one of the decks that can get to ramp quicker with the lore, versus like a Ruby Amethyst where you're like 0 and 16, and then all of a sudden within the last 3 turns you quest and win, which seems to be how my games against Ruby Amethyst go. It's like, I'm about to close it out. Oh wait, never mind. I can't rebuild my board ever again.
Yeah, but that's not to say that this location is unplayable. Like there is probably enough location synergy, if not in this set, but coming soon. I'm sure locations are going to be limited to just this set. That it's probably going to be... I'm not going to say guaranteed playable, but potentially more playable than I make it out to be when I ask that, would you play an 09 question?
Well, and with that too, there's a green Sapphire hyper aggro deck that people are trying to make work. This would easily slot into that. So if you weren't trying to play, because normally people will do it with the Ruby Amethyst, it's like a different variation of the Ruby Amethyst deck, and you just play a ton of little high lore characters that you can find in Sapphire and in Emerald, and this would fit right in. So
yeah. I will say this has all locations inherently have the additional upside of they don't die to be prepared.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
like they're stick around through your wipes.
Mm-hmm. That's true. It's like a spell book, but better because you don't have to pay the lore for it. You already have it.
Or Smash or any of those other direct damage dealing. Other than, I mean, we have Along Came Zeus now, I think.
Right.
And maybe a couple
which we'll
other
talk about in a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's
so you need a Goofy.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Goofy and Prince Air.
Goofy too good. Matanui's also here as a
That's beautiful.
2 cost, 5 defense, 1 to move here, 1 lore pip, and whenever a character is banished while here, you may put that card into your Inkwell face down and exert it. So Grammatala for everyone who's here.
Everyone's Grammatala.
Except that this synergizes with the new Grammatala, which we'll talk about later.
Yes.
But you can get some lore from that combo, so like if you're playing that variation of a Sapphire deck, this could get out of hand and you will need to like actually take it out. Uh-huh. You'll need to find some 5 attacks somewhere and get rid of it, because things could get out of hand very quickly.
Yeah, I foresee a combo around this with the new Grammatala with Rockstar Stitch to just plop out a bunch of things, move them over here, and say, cool, if you want to challenge them, Inkwell and 1 lore. Like, up to you if you want me to have a giant board or just gain a bunch of lore now. Your choice.
So gross. I love it. That sounds like a fun deck. All right, let's see the next one.
To Neverland.
The Missing Mermaid. This is the one where it tells us that the mermaid's missing.
The mermaids told Peter they'd seen some items floating by several days earlier, but they were more concerned that one of their sisters had gone missing. There you go.
Yep.
Yeah. The mermaid mystery starts.
This is the storyline I want to see. Yeah. And I think in Wendy Darling, one of the other cards, they expand on it more, saying that Wendy's off to go look for this mermaid that's referenced in this card.
I love that this is what you've grabbed onto.
I love that they have these things to grab onto. That they have through lines across multiple cards like this.
Yeah. That's true. This is just another 1 passive lore, 1 inkable, 1 to move here, 4 defense. So it's good. I mean, I don't know if I'd play it in Amber. It's probably better things, but
you're basically
they all kind of got this variation of the card. So
Nottingham also exists as kind of another one of those 2-cost 1/6 locations. We saw.
I am happy to see that Amethyst. I'm happy to see that they picked Nottingham though, because this was kind of like a deep cut of a location, in my opinion. So I was happy to see that.
This card is so good. I forgot it was a card, and now I'm just relearning that it's a thing. Oh no!
That says enough about that one then.
Flavor text so good. Like, I know it's just from the movie, but it's so good. Mommy.
Oh, that is good.
Oh.
Amazing.
Yeah, I love how much love Robin Hood's been getting in this game. It's so good.
Yeah.
Every set they've had something.
I think that they should give the same love to Hunchback, and then kind of like the lesser known movies would finally get kind of what they deserved.
Well, I'm going to jump ahead one here. Speaking of lesser known movies, let's talk about the RLS Legacy.
Treasure. Yeah.
The last one that got Enchanted.
Yep.
Do you want to talk about this one, Ben?
Yeah.
Normal Ben.
Oh, no, yes, normal Ben. Okay, that's me. Hi.
Normal Ben.
So this is a 4-cost uninkable location. It has 8 defense. It costs 3 to move somebody here. But characters gain evasive while here. And if you have a character here, you pay 2 ink less to move another character of yours here. So it's the first one costs 3, but everybody after that costs just 1.
The first one asterisk because this will be played with Jim Hawkins, which we'll get to later. That can move here for free, and we'll get to that later though.
Yeah, we're going to be coming back to this.
Planet Synergy.
Yes, and it's very good too. Like, holy cow. Doubling back to the one that we skipped over, the Pride Lands. That's some new text. Neat.
Yeah, I didn't like seeing the shield for the first time in a card. I was just like, is it a heart? Like, I couldn't figure out what it was.
Yeah, that has implications.
Yeah.
This is from Winding 7.
Seraph. Winding Seraph.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is a 2-cost location, uninkable, has 7 defense, costs 2 to move a character here. Characters get +2 defense while here, and if you have a prince or king character, you can move them here for 1 less.
And this brought up a new ruling.
Yeah,
that I didn't expect. If you have 2 Pride Lands and somebody has the 2 extra health defense in this case, but their damage is over their normal threshold, but within still living with this buff, if you're moving between 2 Pride Lands, you survive.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't expect that.
I expected that, but as a Magic player, like, there's no point in time where you're not at the location. You move from one to the other one, and so you're never in the middle. But the game could have done it differently for all I knew. Like, I've learned to not assume that every Magic rule applies to every game ever. That's not how this works. But this leads to the somewhat interesting, I think, possibly the first case of a situation where you need to remove 2 objects in sequence. So if you have like if you have a Prince Eric here, and he's so he would normally have 3 toughness, but he's got 5 because he's at the Pride Lands. And an opponent puts 4 damage on him. He's still here. And then the opponent attacks the Pride Lands to get it destroyed. The Pride Lands would be destroyed, which would make Prince Eric lose the buff, which would make him get banished due to having more damage than marked on him. One after the other. Not at the same time, but we remove one, and then we have to go back and recheck, okay, did that cause anything else to happen?
Right.
That's fun.
Not really.
Love that.
This brings up memories. It's just
going to cause people to do some things, I think. Yeah. People are going to have to be vigilant.
Yeah, there's a lot to watch out for with this, but there's a in the first set of Magic the Gathering I ever played, there's a card called Pack Rat that has power and toughness equal to the number of rats you control, and it makes copies of itself. So something that would happen somewhat often is that there was a red spell that would do 3 damage to one creature, 2 damage to another one, and 1 damage to a third creature. You would find an opponent that's got 3 pack rats out, and be like, cool, deal 3 to that one, 2 to that one, and 1 to that one. The 3 damage kills the 3/3. Oops, now there's only 2 rats. The 2 damage kills the 2/2. Oops, there's only 1 rat left. Now the other, and you just chain these kills down. So seeing that, like, this game has the ability to handle that, I guess, for multiple things to happen in sequence like that, I'm excited to see what other possible cards we could have coming down the line. Like, do we have stuff that could have variable toughness? Like, this character has defense equal to the number of items in your discard pile, or something like that.
Oh my gosh. Whew. If it does, I think it would be like set 5.
I'm sure, like, we're going to see more and more complexity as the game goes, but
absolutely,
this proves that the door's open to doing that, and that they're not going to be afraid of it.
Yeah, which, like, as someone, and I'm sure you agree with this too, as who's played other, like, higher complexity card games, I like that because I like that it makes me think, and I'm happy to kind of see that door open. Because I mean, I play these games as like a comprehensive critical thinking hobby, right? Like, I like that other side of it and trying to think your way out of these different situations, on top of it just being Disney, and I love it. So yeah, that's why we play games. It makes us happy. It makes you think. Yeah. Was that all of the locations?
Oh no, we've got 4 more.
Oh boy. Okay.
We go into the bayou next.
Oh, yes. we go on Tiana's Bayou. She don't have her mountain yet in Magic Kingdom, but it's coming. 1 cost, inkable, 1 to move here, 3 defense. It has 1 lore pip. And show me the way. Whenever a character quests while here, you may draw a card, then choose and discard a card, which is a little bit similar to like the Simba card, where you can, like, he comes into play and you can, like, draw and discard. But this is whenever a character quests there. So just a little bit of deck cycling, which Steel loves to do. So
yeah,
I think this one will be used. Absolutely,
I do too.
Yeah, this with Chernobog.
Yes,
which I think we're gonna get to later. If not, I'll go find it and make us get to it later, anyways.
I was gonna say Ben is a Chernobog fanboy, so.
But the synergy of being able to throw out a bunch of characters to reduce the cost, I could see this getting played. Move to a location that is going to be at least flavor-wise good with my current favorite version of Amber Steel. We've got the Queen's Castle. It's not going to fit in there color-wise, but
no.
It's a 4-cost location that is inkable, has 7 defense, it costs 1 to move a character here, 2 lore, and at the start of your turn, for each character you have here, you may draw a card.
This is so good. It's so good.
I take it back. This is not designed for Steel Song. This is designed for Surfer Stitch.
Or
not Surfer Stitch, Rockstar Stitch. The other one.
Yeah.
Let's throw everyone on the board, put them all in the castle, draw a billion cards, Do you have the board wipe or not? That is the question.
Yeah. It's just so much card draw. And now, I mean, you can still run Friends from the other side, but like the Ursula's Cauldron, which I don't even see used that much anymore, that's useless now for this card. Like, this is so much better. Yeah. And 2 lore. Like, it has a great ability and 2 lore. And it's 7 defense. Like, it just kind of gets better. And it's inkable, which normally the good cards in Amethyst aren't inkable. So this is huge.
It doesn't do much to defend itself. I mean, the 7 toughness is a decent amount, but past that, it's...
Yep.
This and all the other locations kind of suffer from the same problem of being very attackable.
Yeah. You just need one Goofy, and this thing falls.
Yeah. But it does require you to turn that Goofy sideways to attack, as opposed to gaining, 4 lore?
4 lore.
It's a tempo play. So it's not all downside anyways. Even if they get rid of it in one turn, they had to deal with it.
Right. Which, I mean, that's kind of what Amethyst wants. That way they can stay in game lore and stay on tempo for them, so...
And I mean, there will be synergy with this with Maleficent, which I think we'll also get to later, with moving damage when we draw cards. So plenty of synergy.
That's your other love in life.
That's gonna
Chernabog and Maleficent. Those are your 2 favorite people.
Nice.
We should just like scratch out Oogie Boogie, put Chernabog on that shirt, and you would be a happy camper.
This side.
All right, 2 more. We have the Sorcerer's Tower.
3 cost inkable. It costs 2 to move here. It has 7 defense. Broom Closet. Your characters named Magic Broom may move here for free, and then characters get -1 lore pips while
plus
here.
1.
So, thank you, +1. I was going to say, that doesn't seem right. This is what we get for computers. Again, great for Amethyst. I want to put all of my aggro characters here and turn them from 2 lore Maleficents and 3 lore Pinocchios to like 4 and 5. Yeah. And your brooms just get to go here. This is their little closet, so your brooms are just hanging out, having fun.
I will spend a few weeks just to try to make brooms work with set 3.
Yeah.
I'll do League, just bring brooms, just have fun with it. I want brooms to work. It seems so fun and silly.
4 of Sorcerer's Hat, name and broom every time. Yeah.
And then Mickey doing his Fantasia, controlling all of them.
Yep.
It finally is going to work.
I really like the idea of Sorcerer's Apprentice.deck. Like, that's just such a good idea.
Well, it makes me happy, like, and I'm sure for you too, Ben, as like classic Disney people, to see like the origins get honored a little bit. It like warms your heart. So yeah.
Tiana's Tiana's Palace.
Tiana's beignets?
Maybe. The 3-cost uninkable location that has 8 defense. Costs 2 to move a character here, though. 1 lore pip, and characters can't be challenged while here.
This is disgusting. Absolutely disgusting.
What do you think on this, Ben? Because I played online and people were playing this, and I have an experience with it. I'm not sure what you think, though.
8 is a lot to get through. I
one whole Goofy.
It's a whole Goofy, but that's what, 3 on the Prince Eric scale.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's a decent amount of effort to plow through. It does cost 2 to move here, which is a non-trivial amount of ink. This might be a trap. It might play very well with some of the other items in the set that decrease movement costs. But you might need to have that synergy working in full before this really becomes good.
I want to put Moana here and run princesses.
Oh yeah, that'd be
that's
sweet.
all I want to
That'd be
do
fun.
here. Yeah, because like the problem the princesses is that they can't hit back pretty hard. Like they just all of them are like, I mean, there's even a Rapunzel that has 0 strength. They're like 0, 1, and 2 unless you're talking about the big Cindy. So like the problem is they might have like a little bit of a higher defense, but like they can't hit back, which is the problem. So people don't mind hitting into them just to get rid of them. Yeah. But if they're here and Moana's doing her thing and she can't be attacked and you're requesting all your princesses, it might finally work. This is a deck that I've been trying to make work since the beginning, and I think this is what it's needed and what it's missing, and I'm so excited to play with it. Ben, what was your experience with it? Because you don't seem to like this card.
So I don't mind it. I think that it's going to take a while for not just this location, but locations in general to shake out, because people are going to focus too heavily on them. It's a new thing in your deck. They're going to be like, okay, I want to play this. I want to do something with it. And they're going to play it too early. Toy. They're going to focus too on it. And that's exactly what happened in my experience with it so far, that it just seemed like the people were focusing way too much on it. Like, I need to force this to work. And it was an easy target, honestly. They were skipping other things that could have... They're skipping playing characters that could stop me in the early game and just trying to make this work.
That's a really good point. That locations, with exception, don't do anything to slow your opponent down in any way. It is just a boost to you, and if that boost isn't fast enough to make up for the ground that you're losing by not interacting, it may not be worth it.
Yeah. Try this.
Oh yeah, I mean definitely. Like that's part of the great part about games like this is like go try everything out. Like every new deck archetype out there is discovered by somebody saying, "Let me just try this and see how it works."
Exactly.
Yep.
And there's no harm in trying, and you're not going to know if it works until it doesn't. So. Yeah. And the other crazy thing is it might work against one deck and then completely fail against another, and then you're like, okay, where's my happy medium? So
right. What's my local store playing? Component. Is this good here or not? Like that's always
absolutely
an important call.
That's the locations.
That's our locations. Yeah. We've got some highlights. We're not going to go through all 204 cards of the set.
No.
We've got some more specific highlights.
We would be here forever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that there were some really important highlights, and they're not even like legendaries. I think it's just, set or cards from the set that I think we're going to see used frequently. And they're ones that we've even talked about, through talking about locations. Ones that might work well with them are just cards that we're excited to see. So can we talk about the first one, Grammatala, just to get out of the way, because I'm really excited about this card.
Yeah, definitely. Like let's bring up all the ones where like we'll come back to this later. It's like let's hit those highlights. So Grammatala, let me get the bigger version. There we go.
Also, first off, this is like an ethereal Grammatala, and I'm so here for it. She is beautiful.
Yeah. Force Ghost Grammatala.
Yeah, exactly. It's so good. But she's 7 cost inkable, which is high, but she shifts for 5, which is way better. She's a 4/8, quest for 2, but her ability is phenomenal. Whenever a card is put into your inkwell, gain 1 lore. What is Sapphire really good at doing? They're really good at putting things in their inkwell. Fishbone Quill. You got Belle can do it. Like it's Winnie the Pooh. We've already talked about.
Detective Mickey from the first set. Yeah.
Yeah, you're already doing it naturally in this deck already. So this is just like such an easy add-in, in my opinion. Ben, what do you think, since you're the Sapphire player?
I have a very distinct memory about the first time I read this card, thinking, oh, like that's cool, but it's 7 ink to play it. Like that ends up being kind of late game. And then I thought for a second, I was like, wait, when I'm playing Sapphire, I end the games with like 18 ink. Like, what am I talking about? So I'm stoked for this, and I'm just stoked for. Yeah.
Oh
Shift
my
5
gosh.
is like turn 3.
Yep. And I'm just stoked for Grammatala as a character as well, because I love Moana. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The part that I'm very excited about is there's no legend rule. You can have a bunch of Grammatalas out, and they would all see you inking the same card. So it is totally possible that you could ramp up to a Grammatala, the first Grammatala, play it and pass, untap, ready, set, draw the next turn, play a second one, ink for turn, fishbone quill, the whole 9 yards of your whole ramp engine again, and just dump it all out.
Yeah.
And then play
sing a whole new world and reload. Like, just go.
And then with that location that we were talking about, where whenever you put a card into your inkwell, you gain the lore, which is the same thing as this, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So you're just passively gaining 2. Like, that deck is going to go so quick. And 8, you have to chew through 8? That's a 4 on the flounder scale. That's
3 on the Prince Eric, and it beats the Erics. In the meantime, they are gone.
Yeah. Yeah, so you lose those in the trade. You lose the flounders in the trade. So, rough life.
As far as the shift note goes as well, with the 1 cost or 2 cost, the small Grammatala, when you play her, people stay away from her like you just threw a grenade at them.
Because they don't want you to have the ink.
She's still out on the field.
Yep.
Yeah.
For comparison,
it's weird that there have been games where I've ended with my turn 2 Grammatala still on the board.
Because people don't want you to have the ink.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you'll have a shift target.
Yeah.
Unless people end up being like, oh no, the shiftable one is too scary. I have to take her out now. But still, win-win.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
No, I think this is going to be really fun. And I don't play a ton of Sapphire, but I am very eager to get my hands on this deck and play around with it. So that's my highlight. What about you guys? Because I know you guys have a lot of cards you're excited for.
Do we want to talk about Chernobog?
Yes, do it.
The Chernobog fanboy talk.
I got the good art.
Oh, nice.
He's not as big as a Goofy, I point out. He's like an inferior Goofy because he's only 9 and Goofy's 10. Just pointing it out.
But you can play this guy for free.
But he costs 10. How can you do that?
Can someone explain to me how this works?
So with his 10 cost, I mean, as it says, every character you have in your discard, you pay 1 less for it. So if you're into it, if you were playing an aggro deck and you had this, they wiped your board, you can just play this Chernobog. Everything goes back into your deck everything, the characters that were in your discard go back into your deck, and you just refreshed everything. You're good against whole new world, Emerald discard or mill decks and everything. It's a grand old time. That includes your other Chernobogs.
Yeah. Oh man.
So you like could cycle a Chernobog, or you could be playing Snow White and just keep putting him back in your hand. If when she quests, you can grab the character from the discard. Yeah.
Or play this with Steel. So then you have the Cinderella and you have the Simba that are cycling your cards. You have the new location that's cycling your cards into your discard because you draw, then you discard 1. Just help accelerate that.
Just drop an early whole new world and I lost 3 characters in discard, but that ramps my Chernobog. I don't care.
Yep.
This will kind of scare people away, I think, from pulling the Be Prepared trigger too. If they're looking at your discard and they're like, this could trigger it. I don't know if I want to deal with that right now. Maybe they hold on to that game state and they're like, we'll just figure it out from here instead of giving you those characters in your discard. So
I look forward so much to the opponent does turn 7, Be Prepared, and you're like, cool, ready, set, draw, Chernobog. Pass.
We're done. Have fun.
This is a problem. Deal with it. Good luck. Do you have the second board wipe?
Exactly. Yeah.
This is the first card in Lorcana to me that screams boss monster.
Yes.
Or boss character. There's other good cards like Elsa and everything like that, but like this is the first one that's truly like, okay, build a deck around this concept and see if you can roll with it. It might be able to happen.
Yeah.
And I mean, his name is Chernobog Evildoer, so obviously he's a bounce monster. Like, this is a scary guy.
Playable and villain synergy.
Oh,
yeah.
He is a villain.
It's a good point.
Yep. No, it'll be fun to see it happen.
There's one more that we mentioned while we were going through locations, and that's Jim Hawkins. Being a 5-cost 4/4 quest for 2. But when you play this character, you may play a location with cost 4 or less for free. The HMS is a 4-cost location, so Jim can come in with that, and when you play a location, this character may move there for free. So Jim comes in with the ship, turning on the ability for everybody else to move to the ship for just 1 cost.
Yep.
Real good. I like it.
Yeah. No, it's got some great synergy.
And just for prosperity's sake, every location right now will fall under this effect. He could play any location. All of them are 4 and below right now.
Huh. Good point.
What a great way to get an uninkable card out of your hand for free.
True.
You know? Oof.
I do like the implication, though, that we're going to have very expensive locations later. So I wonder what's coming.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. What's an expensive... I'm trying to think of like what an expensive castle is. My mind just immediately goes to like Corona from Rapunzel, and I'm just like, her cities, like, they've got to be expensive, right? Like, I hope so, but I also just really love Tangled.
I'm trying to think what kind of effect you could have that would justify something being that expensive on a location.
Yeah, I don't know.
Could locations have resist?
Ooh.
Like, could you just print a location with resist too?
Or like a bodyguard location?
There's nothing that prevents you from having bodyguard on a location. You have to challenge me before other characters.
It could be like a mist of some form, maybe like somewhere like it's, I don't know, somewhere difficult to get to. I don't know.
I'm excited for the future, as always.
Yeah.
Speaking of weird cards, can we talk about Morph? I gave you the Morph card.
Yes, you did.
And Morph deserves to have a conversation. Look at the space goo that is Morph.
So
he's
good.
a 2/1, 2 inkable. When you play this card, play any character with shift on this character as if the character had any name. So Beast Tragic Hero was like already really good. And now he's like somehow even better. I don't understand. Cinderella can play her for much less now. You don't have to wait.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, look at the little space goo. Who doesn't want to have a deck with him in it? He's cute. Yeah. He's silly.
He's just a little guy.
He's just a little guy. Ben, were there any cards that you wanted to highlight? Because I know there's plenty that you're excited about.
I know Maleficent Mistress of All Evil is probably my most anticipated card on this.
There we go.
Yeah, so she's an inkable 5-cost, 2/3. Whenever this character quests, you may draw a card. So she's her own trigger for this next effect. During your turn, whenever you draw a card, you may you may move 1 damage counter from chosen character to chosen opposing character. And so this will synergize with the Rapunzel, the 0 attack Rapunzel, that every time you remove damage from one of your characters, you can draw a card. You can just clean up your side, decimate your opponent's side. This is one of those things where it might be harder to pull off, kind of like a lot of people are excited for the Jafar combo. But it's kind of proving hard to pull off because people just know this is, you need to watch out for this, take it out if it pops up. But this would be amazing. You don't have to quest with this to trigger it. If you trigger it a different way, you can still start that loop though.
Drawing for turn triggers this.
Yeah. Oh, holy cow, it does.
Yeah.
It's like you don't need, it's not an extra draw triggers it. Your normal draw gets you one.
I didn't think about that.
So you
That's
could just
amazing.
leave her ready.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep.
I said yeah like I understood that, and I did not. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, man. No, I think this is
great.
going to
And
see a
then-
lot of play. I think this is a great
yeah.
card. I want to see that. I hate saying this, but I want to see this in Ruby Amethyst because Ruby has a little bit of self-damage. Both Teeth and Ambitions and Mother Gothel comes in with damage. Gives you fodder for damage counters that you can now fling at your opponent.
Yeah.
I want to see that be a deck where it's I don't have removal, I just have damage movement.
Yep. And they're high cost
just
rush
ready to
characters
get
that could
time.
take something out to get damage.
Yeah. Go on a challenge. Oh, that's obscene. You put this in Steel and you just cool. Go challenge everything. Whole new world. Move all the damage to kill off the rest of the board.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, and she sings it. She would sing the whole new world. Oh my goodness.
So this was a conversation that happened at locals, I think yesterday, that I'm confident in my answer in, but they were also confident enough that I doubted myself. A damage counter is a single damage, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
The argument was made that a damage counter is a d6.
No.
Oh.
No, that is a
no.
representation of up to 6 damage counters.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect.
No.
That's why
that was
starter
correct,
decks and
but
stuff come with
The little punch outs.
punchables.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
That would be absurd if it was.
That would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, thank goodness. But
No.
like you did say though, with this moving the damage does count as removing it and then placing it for things that care about healing, but does not count as dealing damage for effects with like resist. If you put this on a character with resist, it will go around the resist and put the counter. It's not like the resist will prevent the damage from being placed.
Yep.
Because that's different.
Yep,
And
we're not
same-
dealing damage. We're moving it.
Is that the same with the beast that will take damage from
Yep.
its
This
fellows?
gets around
Okay.
that too, because that beast that soaks all the damage, replaces damage being dealt with damage counters being put on it.
Gotcha.
Which dealing damage isn't the same as putting damage counters. One causes the other, but they're not the exact same concept.
Okay.
It's
So-
essentially mitigating in like a
exactly.
weird way versus like actually dealing damage. Yeah.
It's like the magic saying of damage causes loss of life. You can lose life other ways, but damage can cause that to happen. Or other things to happen,
Sure.
like gaining life, getting poison counters, yada yada. But that's not what we're here for.
It's an important point though, and going back to like talking about rules and stuff about just like clarifications would be nice, but at least this is one that we can like actually talk about because we have enough clarification on it. But I'm sure there's going to be tons of questions that come up about it, and you'll just have to go to Mushu Report and read about it because it's probably there.
Yep.
This podcast
We
is not
love
sponsored by
them.
Mushu Report, but we would not be here without them.
No, we love them. They're great. I think that's it though for set 3 cards that we want to talk about. Unless there's more that you guys feel warrant a discussion.
I think that's pretty much it that I was super excited about. I'm taking a quick look through if there was any other big highlights. I am kind of excited to see along came Zeus. Direct damage to locations is a thing that exists.
It's
Which
going to be
with
needed.
this card,
Yeah.
With this card, one of the first 2 non-character or location enchanted. So this got an enchanted, and then an item got an enchanted.
Right.
So that's exciting.
Honestly, just here for the muses. I'm happy for them. They deserve it. They're great.
Yeah. There is one more card I want to touch on because I think this is going to be kind of a corner of the new meta when the set comes out. And that's going to be the new Jafar. Which 7 cost, 4/5, shifts for 5, but has evasive. So toughness is not as relevant here. Quests for 1, but that's not as important as during your turn, comma, while this character is exerted, comma, whenever you draw a card, comma, gain 1 lore.
Yep.
Your whole new worlds gain you 7 lore.
Mm-hmm.
If you have 3 Jafars and if you have 3 Jafars exerted and cast whole new world, you win the game from nothing.
That's gross.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Yep. We'll see. We'll see how much this hits the meta, but like with the amount of card draw that's out there between all of the Maleficent things, all of the like the location that lets you draw cards with characters there, whole new world being a real thing, I think that there is going to be a deck of draw cards and win.
Yeah.
Honestly, even like let the storm rage on. You get to nothing to hide. You get to draw a card from that. What is it? Not hypnotize, but there's like a discard card that's like they get rid of a card and then you get to draw a card. It like there's card draw options. Like any color, I think could technically work with this.
What is it?
There's obviously some
rabbit that draws.
But
Merlin rabbit.
Rabbit draws.
When it comes in and when it leaves.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
There's
that's in its color.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is another one that, at least so far, I've played a few games against people trying to pull this off.
Mm-hmm.
And it's another thing where it felt like they were focusing on it too much.
Fair.
So I'm excited for it to shake out, for people to get kind of a flow, so we can get proper games against it. Yeah. Because that will take some time.
Right now, especially since the cards aren't technically out yet. Everyone's just testing on various platforms. I would say probably 3 days after this sets out, we'll see the new meta deck come out, and I'm sure people are going to be using this.
Yeah.
Something else I really like about the game just as a whole is how it seems, at least to me, coming from a Magic perspective, that it takes longer for the meta to shake out. Like we start getting some ideas early on in a set of like, okay, these are actually good cards. But like the Ruby Amethyst thing got better after 2 months on its own of just people figuring out how to deal with the problem. So it's fun to see that the game evolves over time, and it's not just like, okay, week 1 it's solved.
Mufasa wasn't even a deck for the first half of set 2.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden people were like, oh wait, this is like a really fun thing. We should play around with this. Like, I think initially people were opening the legendaries and they're like, okay, stick it in the binder and move on. I know that's what we did with ours. And then all of a sudden someone was like, roulette, but in Lorcana. And we were like, yes, let's play that.
Yep. I wonder how many archetypes Ravensburger has that they're just kind of waiting, and they're like, oh, they finally found it, guys. They're playing it now.
Or like things that they're like, week 1, they're going to break this, and then it takes like 6 weeks or something, and they're like,
how do you not see it?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh. But then like the opposite happens where they're like, oh, we never thought that could be a thing, and they made it a thing, because that's how it always goes. Yeah. Game testing is fun.
Oh, you did remind me, though. I wanted to mention this during the judge talking stuff, and I almost forgot about this. With Mufasa specifically, my current favorite weird rules question and interaction in this game. So if you have 3 Mufasas out at the same time, and your opponent plays Be Prepared, so they all get banished, all 3 of them trigger. Assume that the top 3 cards of your deck are Surfer Stitch.
Oh.
How many cards can you draw?
I would assume 2.
Mm-hmm.
You're only drawing off of the 3rd.
Other Ben, thoughts?
Oh my goodness. No, because so they're not in your discard yet. They're banished, yes.
Yeah.
But they're not in your discard yet, is my thinking. So they would still be on the field. They're not moved to it. So each one would draw 2, not just 2 total.
Well, so the Mufasas are all banished, but the Surfers are coming in.
Oh, the question being, do the Surfers all come in at the same time or not? And see
how many of those Surfers can resolve successfully and draw 2 cards?
Oh god.
Because Surfer Stitch works if you have 2 or more character cards on the field, then you get to draw 2 cards.
Yeah, is it all of them?
So it's actually at any number of them. Your choice.
What?
1, 2, or 3 of those abilities can resolve successfully.
So you could draw 6 cards?
You could draw 6 cards, or 4 cards, or 2 cards. Your choice.
Jeez. That's crazy.
The way that the
game
game's...
Because it just simultaneous?
So all of the Mufasas get banished simultaneously. And the way that the game works when multiple things trigger at the same time is that you get to pick which one resolves next. Every time. There's no ordering to them. There's no stack or queue or chain or anything like that. It's a bag of marbles. You put all your triggers in a bag and you pick out which one you want to do next. So if you want to draw 6 cards, you resolve all 3 of your Mufasas to put all of the Stitches in play, and then go back and resolve the first Stitches trigger. And it'll see at that point in time that you have 2 other Stitches in play and draw you the cards. And same for the second and same for the third. If you're really low on cards and you don't want to draw all of them, you could resolve the first Mufasa, then the first Stitch, which wouldn't see enough characters in play. Then the second Mufasa, second Stitch, third Mufasa, third Stitch. That third Stitch would see other characters in play, so you have to draw at least 2 cards, but you can do anywhere in between. And I think that's just absolutely wild and really a neat thing about this game.
I never would have thought about that, but I also don't run 4 Surfer Stitches in my deck.
The response in the Discord when this was first discovered was, who's doing this? Why did you stack your deck to make this happen? And why are you playing all these cards? And it's like, no. This is a rules question. It's not why, it's can I? That's absolutely
cool.
fair.
So that's all just because of how they allow you to resolve it.
Yep.
You're allowed to resolve all the Mufasas first before you resolve any of the Stitches.
Yep.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a bunch of applications for that too. I guess I'll new segment on the Illuminary Library, Ben's Judge Corner. I'll try and find one of these every time and bring up some neat, weird rules interaction that folks might not know about.
I absolutely love that idea. I think that's great. And then we can be like flowcharted out and just be like, this is how this works and why.
Whiteboard everything. I like this.
Yes. Google Whiteboard everything. Awesome. Man. Well, as you guys should have known, because we do this at the end of every episode, and while Benjamin hasn't been on every episode, he watches them because he dates me and he loves me. So we're gonna start. Well, actually, Benjamin, we'll end with you. Ben, what card have you brought to talk about that you want to gush over for the end of the episode?
Which Ben's going first?
Maybe you hate it. You are.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was confused there with you. Don't worry.
Okay.
Thing 1.
Ben's on first. Ben's on second, and I don't know who's on third. So what I'm bringing for show and tell this week is the let's let the storm rage on. We talked about it a little bit earlier. This has been a very good card for me in Steel Song. Just the 2 damage doesn't feel like it gets rid of a lot of things, but it actually does solve a lot of random problems.
Early on, it does.
Getting rid of your opponent's Pinocchio before they go wild with it is very helpful. There's a bunch of other random, like 1 and 2 defense characters that just get cleared with this entirely. And the ability to draw the card afterwards. I've had multiple games where I've needed to just sing this for the draw so that I could try and dig to an answer.
Yeah.
And having that option exist is great.
I like this for getting rid of shift targets. Like if I see a Cindy on the board, like the 2/2 Cindy, you're just gone. Sorry. You're fodder for Let the Storm Rage On, and I get to draw a card. Because I just don't want you to shift.
Yep.
Yeah. No, this is a really great card. And also, the art's great. Elsa looks regal.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Awesome.
Art's phenomenal. It goes like not said often enough, I think, on this show that like the art in this game is so good.
It's just everything's
I
great.
love it to
It really
pieces.
is. Yeah.
What
All right,
about
so
you? What did
I'll
you
go
bring?
next.
Yeah.
We've already talked about him, but I love him. He is my boy, Mufasa. This has been like my staple deck for set 2. So if you didn't gather it, but his ability is whenever this character is banished, you may reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a character card, you may play that character for free and they enter play exerted. Otherwise, it just goes to the top of your deck. So typically I run a deck that's like 54, 55 characters, and then the other 4 or 5 cards are actions. But even then, I run 2 Be Prepared and 2 Lanterns, so I run 56 characters. And typically what you're really hoping for is either A, another Mufasa, because that's just gold,
Ooh.
or you get another really great card, like you get a Surfer Stitch, or you get a Rockstar Stitch, or you can get, I've gotten Scar out of this, who's great.
Nice.
Just expensive characters who you don't necessarily have the ink to play yet, but they can come in for free. I also love playing this around turn 6 or 7 when you kind of know they're going to be prepared, because then they can be prepared and you still have a character out on the board at the end of it, which sets you up really nice for the next turn, because then typically they would play a Lady Tremaine, but if you're playing a second character, Lady Tremaine doesn't really work anymore. So it's a good backup for that. So I really love this card. I think it's really fun to play around with. And it's like a little bit of gambling in the deck, which I am always here for. And I like, just give me a little bit of risk and I'll take it. It's great. All right, Benjamin, what's your show and tell? This is your first time doing it.
It is. So Cruella de Vil, a fashionable cruiser, is the one that I went with tonight. And this is a Sapphire MVP, as much as it may not seem like it. She can attack evasive. She's a 3/2. She is the reason most of my Sapphire decks can survive any sort of aggro. In all reality, she is such an integral part of that. Sure, you have some other small stuff, especially since we're partnering with Steel a lot of the time. But like, she is just so good to have a body on the field to early on help with some aggro, to take care of those three willpower other characters.
Yeah,
she's just an MVP all around for anti-aggro and Sapphire.
That's a really good point. Like, this is a card I think I may have overlooked entirely if you hadn't pointed this out. But like the fact that this is an answer to your opponent's evasion means that you have the ability to interact early.
Yep. You can get rid of a Minnie Mouse, the evasive like Surfer one, and live, which a lot of the Ruby Amethyst decks like to run that card. Mm-hmm. So it's a good answer for it.
Deals with Pascals if they're playing them, which I've seen here and there. It's a very clean answer to a lot of small problems.
Mm-hmm. That Sapphire needed, because they really didn't have a way to deal with evasives, and they don't really have they don't do indirect damage. They can remove you, but as far as damage goes, they don't have a ton of that, which is why they normally partner with Steel. But I think this is a really great addition for that deck. And you've done work with it. I watched it happen, so it's just funny because it's like a little too cost common that you don't really like think about, and then you're like, oh no, like this works.
Very integral part of many of my matches.
Well, thank you guys for being here for this discussion as always. Thank you, Benjamin, for joining us for the first time.
Thank you guys for having
more Lorcana. No, never. You're not welcome. I'm just kidding. If you want more Lorcana, Benjamin and I play Lorcana on our WDWNT Twitch play channel every Thursday. We just finished wrapping up a 4-week series, and we gave away a Chapter 1 OP Kit pin, which was super exciting. And we've got Chapter 2 pins that we're going to give out soon. So stay tuned and watch for that because it's cool and those pins are awesome. We're giving away
Rise
a Honey
of the
Wizard.
Floodborn.
I'm just so happy.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm happy that we get to do that. And then Ben, always, you're the best co-host and the judgiest of judges that we could ever have. So
is that a compliment? I don't.
No, it is.
You called me judgy. I think y'all heard that, right? That's
okay. You're the best judge, and especially you're the only judge that we have on staff. So you're the only one that we can
I'm the best judge on staff. I'm the only judge on staff.
Exactly.
No, thank you so much for doing this. It's always a blast doing these with you, and you put so much work into putting this together with all the graphics and everything here. So, thank you so much for doing all this.
Of course, and I can't wait until next month when we can actually start really talking about our Into the Inklands experience. For now, it's all in theory, so another week and the cards will be out, and be sure to watch our socials on WWNT Play, the Illuminary Library. We'll be showing card openings and, pack openings and talking about cards and stuff. So be sure to follow along, and we'll see you guys next month.
Yep. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.